there's a lot of something happening all around the state. And we wanted to give you a chance to share some of the amazing things happening today, and then introduce you to this greater Mission community that you can become a part of and help share. So when you think about social media and you think about education, you know that there's a place where you can go to get the feel-good stuff, to get the great ideas for your classroom.
So let's start with the story. The story's not unique, probably. Many of you have probably had experiences like this. But the story goes, a kid was getting ready to start a spelling lesson with her students. First time they've done spelling. So she called all the kids together and said, "Kids, we're going to learn spelling today." The kids said, "Whoa, someone will this here," right? And some were really excited because they had done spelling before. And then there were a few kids that were like, "I'm nervous," right? And so one of those kids raises his hands and he says, "I know how to spell my mom's name." And the teacher said, "Oh, very nice, very good." He said, "Here, I can tell you. It's spelled M-O-M. And the teacher said, "Oh, thank you for sharing." Another girl's like, wait a minute. That's not how you spell your mom's name. That's how you spell my mom's name." So the point of the story is that kids really do amazing things, right? And as educators, we know that. Being around kids keeps us young. Being around kids keeps us positive. And the point of what we're really doing today is that we want to kind of pause and celebrate some of the successes and really focus on what can we do to grow that more. The problem is, though, Ben alluded to some of the comments in MLive, the problem is that we're not always as connected as some of those comments are in sort of the negative sphere. And sometimes we work in silos. We might work alone. Maybe we collaborate with people within our department or people in our building. Or maybe we collaborate with other people in our district. But it's really difficult and it's really rare to collaborate with people across the other side of the state. And that's just kind of the nature of what it is that we do. But the more we connect, and the more that, as someone from Grand Rapids, I know the amazing things happening here in Boyne, the stronger our relationship, the stronger our connection, the more our sense of community really can develop. And so we've talked about Mished already. We've mentioned Mished a little bit, and we'll mention it throughout the keynote, but it's not like the major point of the focus. The thing is with Mished is that it was started to address that problem. How do we connect teachers more? And about 3 years ago, in the fall of 2012, a group of educators sat down and said, how do we connect people more? And they decided to use a hashtag called Mished, and decided to use a Wednesday night chat at 8 o'clock. And it sort of launched from that, but it's far from just a hashtag and just a Wednesday night chat, because the nice thing about having this sort of statewide hashtag and statewide chat is that you can connect it with real people and real conversations at events like this, and have real relationships. So, Mished is a hashtag like your classroom is a set of desks and textbooks, which is to say it's not a hashtag at all, right? That's just a starting point. So, for me, why we do what we do, it's really about growth and support. And education, I think, it's a unique opportunity for growth and support, right? We got into this profession because we wanted to see kids grow. We got into this profession because someone early in our lives touched us, inspired us, right? A teacher, a parent, a grandparent, a pastor, someone older that had more wisdom inspired us to do things, and we want to pass that inspiration forward. And education, I think, there's so much possibility for growth and support. There's so much possibility for growth and support that even in our failures, there's possibility for growth and support. And I'm going to share with you a story of one of my failures, because I think this sort of highlights what growth and support really means in education. So I used to coach tennis in Muskegon, a school called North Shores, and I coached for a while. In one of my earlier seasons, I had the opportunity to coach a player named Daniel. I'll call him Daniel. He was really talented. So talented he made the varsity team as a freshman. He played in a league position as a sophomore and was the best player on the team as a junior and senior. He also was very smart. He got a 36 on his ACT. Like, just the full package. And so as this kid came into the program, I thought, man, I want to see him go as far as I can. So I pushed him and I encouraged him. to get as good as he can. The problem is, my focus wasn't on growth, it wasn't on support, my focus was on the wins and the losses. And the way I talked to him was on the wins and the losses, was on the outcome. And it sort of had this message to him that, you played him in the game, that sort of idea, right? And it wasn't, not that idea should never exist in athletics, but I didn't support him enough with the idea that he needs to be there to grow. And what happened was that one day he played a match against an arch nemesis that he played for years and years and years and had always lost to. And this time, his nemesis was struggling, and he knew he could beat him. And he walked out on the court knowing he was going to beat him, and then proceeded to lose. And he came off the court, and he threw his back down, and he threw his racket down, and he marched directly behind the nearest building and sat down on the ground and cried. And I followed him back there and tried to comfort him, but there really wasn't any comfort because he, was just really struggling with that event. And it was such a difficult thing to experience, I realized this has more to do about me than it does about him. I didn't do enough to support him from the beginning. I didn't do enough to put the focus where it needed to be. And for me, that was one of my failures. And I want to contrast that with what I think we could be doing, what I should have been doing for growth opportunities with the story of Ben Coleman. Ben was born with cerebral palsy. His doctors and his parents thought he would never walk. Ben proved them wrong. Not only did he walk, they learned how to run. And when he was in high school, he joined the cross-country team. And he joined knowing full well he had no chance to ever win a race. Because it took Ben 45 minutes to finish a race, that it took the best runners 17 or 18 minutes to finish. Ben was far from a loser, though, because he won with his heart. Because Ben, in those 45 minutes, went through such excruciating struggles that it's hard to comprehend. He had a difficult time keeping his balance, so anytime there was an uneven portion of the ground, he would fall. So that by the time he crossed the finish line, he crossed that finish line covered in cuts and bruises at the absolute last leg of his energy. And the amazing thing with Ben's story is that when the other racers finished the race, they would circle back and find him on the course. And they would run with him. So that when he stumbled, they would pick him up. When he fell, they would help him out there too. And it's I think, a really appropriate lesson for education. Because when we compete with each other, very few people will help us. When we compete with ourselves and try to get better, we'll find a lot of people that are going to be willing to help us. And so that's really kind of a big message of what we want to say today.
We wanted to bring, Jeff and I wanted to bring, sort of our core values and what Jeff talked about. And one of the values that I constantly am focusing on is trying to find the silver lining. And I know some people, might poo-poo that and go, okay, well, silver linings are great. We still got this ugly, dark area underneath it to mess with. But for those that know me around my district, around the state, I'm always trying to be smiling, put on a good face. But more importantly, I'm always trying to work on, what Jeff said. That competition within yourself, or that drive to make yourself better. And it's very easy to feel defeated. I just worked with my high school English department yesterday morning, and I got the fortune to get to talk to them about data. And of course, they're all like, "Oh, jeez, man, why do you have to do this?" It's like, well, I was kind of asked to do it, but let's talk about it in a positive way. And we introduced the numbers, and then we moved past the numbers, and we started talking about the standards, and we started talking about the instructional strategies that we used, and we started to look at that, and going back and looking at the data over, let's look at the last few years, and where does that point towards, and what can we do, to look at some of these areas, and they kind of said, okay, I can get behind this. This is great. We're not talking data so much. We're talking about standards, and we're talking about activities we can employ with our students, and so we found a little bit of silver lining. But there's a story that actually happened to us. Okay? After the first year of the Mission Chat, we had a wonderful time, like Jeff said, every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. We thought, man, this is great. We've got a lot of positive energy. Things are going really well. And one of the things that Jeff didn't mention is that the hashtag existed before we found it. And the hashtag was a place where people were sharing a lot of vitriol. They were sharing a lot of negative stuff. In some cases, there were some lobbies and some interests there that were pretty much just saying, our side is right about education. We're not going to listen to you. And the other side's going, no, our side's right about education. And we're going to pretend like we didn't see that tweet. And then they go back and forth. And it was ugly. It was like the MLive comments all over again. And that's why we said, we think we can do better. And we did. And again, when I say we had so many teachers that jumped on board and shared amazing stories. And then these people came along, the BATS. Anyone familiar with them? This is the Badass Teachers Association. And let me tell you, if you can imagine, like, Hell's Angels in the classroom, that's these people. They're like, hell no, we won't go, we're doing our own thing. And they're passionate people, and they're wonderful people. I know a few people in this group. It's not a real official group. It's sort of like this unofficial thing that you can just pick up and claim. I'm a part of the BATS. They're really passionate, and they share some of our goals of making education better, making our classrooms better, of really focusing on relationships. They just don't share some of the same methods that we do. Okay? They have some of the methods of like that, don't tread on me, and we're just going to go ahead and take no prisoners, and they'll get very belligerent. And every summer, they have this social media week. They hit everything. We didn't realize it. And all of a sudden, we're looking at the Mission chat, and there's just all this ugliness going on. It's like, whoa, back up, wait, okay, what's going on here? Because they were being downright belligerent and calling people out and everything. And we don't want that. We've been trying to set up this community, this environment where we can work on solutions positively. And it was brilliant. It was great. All of the members of this Mission community that have been part of the chats, they started jumping on and putting them in their place and saying, look, we're just as passionate as you. But all these people that are in the legislature or have money or politically connected that put out their message and sometimes put out their message in ugly ways, we can't fight them the same way. And we can't fight them the same way and win, right? We need to rise above that. And so it was amazing. And in fact, we actually gained some of these BATS into our fold. And they said, whoa, we would actually kind of like what you're doing. This is cool. We killed them with kindness. So we want to take an opportunity. We're going to go ahead, and this is the first question. We kind of set up our core values, and Mich Ed's core values. Being inviting to all voices, but doing so in a way that's constructive. Go ahead, turn to your neighbor, take 90 seconds or so, and explore this question. What is your core value as an educator? Go for it.
I don't know how many people we're talking to right now, but the question is, what is your core value as an educator? Let's see if we can get any comments on that.
Oh, that's a good idea. We should do this. We should run up and get it close up and get behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. Say, what's your core value as an educator?
Yeah.
What's up?
We want to know your core value as an educator.
My core value? I shared my core value. It's looking for the positive in everything. It's trying to find the silver lining. More importantly, it's, we have problems, we have issues, but let's go ahead and set aside the things that we can't control and the things that are outside of our purview, of our ability to fix, and let's focus on the things that we do have control over, and let's build those up and set a good model for other people to say, hey, yeah, there are negative things that happen all around us. If we can't do something about it, let's focus on those positive things that we can do and find that silver lining. Make the silver lining so big that the negative stuff doesn't matter anymore.
Awesome. I think that was more elaboration than what you just said.
Sorry.
So that was good. I had more. Hey, Jeff.
Hey.
We're periscoping this. Core value.
Growth and support. Doing everything we can to help each other grow and to support each other.
That was way more concise than what this guy just did.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
He's got all the words. Thanks, guys.
I think the word comment on the name was good enough for me.
Right.
So it's good enough for my kid. It's like, well, don't you want something better? You know, you want every generation to get better. So if it was good enough for you, then it should be.
So one of the challenges is inviting people to opening up people like this, having these conversations that, you know, you got to put a time for that. You got to say, okay, sorry. And I know there's some great conversations happening. If you could, let's just hit this link real quick. bit.ly/Boyne core value. Just have a little bit of fun. And let's see where our core values lead us. It's going to take you to an answer card. Jeff's going to, not yet, Jeff. We'll do that tomorrow. It's going to take you to an answer card. And let's share your core values. Either just a word or a simple phrase. I apologize for cutting you off, because I know some of you are extremely passionate. You're probably right in the middle of something like profound. But bit.ly/Boyne core value. And just put in a word or a phrase. What's your core value? Is it pulling up all right? Is it there? Awesome. bit.ly/Boyne core value. Let's see what kind of values we got here. Ooh, relationships. I like that. Changing rigid paradigms. Give yourself a pat on the back for that one. That's nice. You work in paradigms. It's all about the kids. Ooh, cool. And so those of you that have used like Wordle or Tuxedo or something, this is a tag cloud, and the words that are put in more frequently show up larger. Relationships, making a difference, creating respectful citizens. Ooh, I like that one. I'm a social studies minor, so I kind of get geeked out about like core democratic values, good citizenship, things like that. This is cool. Every time I've asked this question to a group of educators, something like this happens. And you see, yeah, there's lots of really great things that are out there. I'm seeing compassion, I'm seeing love, inspire them. But the things that usually pop up nice big is that collaboration, the relationships, and the making a difference. And those are the silver linings. And you see, those silver linings, when we come together, the silver linings grow. And eventually the silver lining becomes bigger than all that negative stuff underneath it. And that's really what we're trying to do with Mission. We're trying to make that silver lining so big that you can't see all the dark storm clouds behind it. Awesome. And just to wrap this up, there we go. Just to wrap up core values, it's important to identify your core values. Some of you may not have been asked that question since your undergraduate days. For better or for worse, but it's important. It's important because when you have that core value and when you hold that dear, you can be intentional. And it's really inspiring when someone can find that core value, know who they are at a very young age. I had the good fortune to go to Ed Camp Detroit back in May, and I met Melanie Gray. Melanie Gray's a teacher in Plymouth, Canton Community Schools, and she's a fourth grade teacher, and she does a Genius Hour project. You familiar with the Genius Hour? Yeah, it's where you take 1 day or 1 hour a week, and you give the kids time to work on a passion project, you help them with that. She had a little boy, Connor. Connor, huge sports nut, you know, everything, right? Does football, does baseball, does soccer, he does it all. And his passion project was, you know, he said, Mrs. Gray, can I do something with sports? She said, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. He said, but I want to do something for sports for people that don't get to play sports, because they have a special program in their school for disabled students or students with cognitive impairments that make it difficult for them to do a lot of physical activity. So he wanted to put on the Sunshine Football Clinic. And his idea was the football players, they all practiced, the varsity team, they practiced in the summer, and at the end of one of those practices, he wanted to hold this clinic for these students. So working with his teacher, this is a fourth grader, 9-year-old, he got the varsity football coach involved. He, in turn, got the entire varsity football team involved. And he went to the community, and he said, we're going to do this, it's going to be great. And they had a blast. They had a wonderful time. A couple hours, in the summer of all of these students that otherwise wouldn't have gotten to, be out there on the field, throw football around, and have this experience. And he was so passionate about it. This year in 5th grade, he went back and said, hey, this is great. Can I do that again? And she said, yeah, sure. So they're getting ready for their second Sunshine Football Clinic this summer. And because he had passion, because he knew his core. He knew what his core value was and wanted to honor that.
So knowing our core values is great, but then at some point we have to face Act 2. I should do that in Monster Truck Books, Act 2 challenges. And we have challenges, right? We definitely have challenges. We've alluded to some of the negativity that's out there. There's education critics. We know that's out there. We know the challenges exist. But hopefully our focus on these challenges is not necessarily to focus on the challenges, but to ask ourselves, what can we do about those challenges? Because there's always going to be challenges. So to think about that topic, we have 2 4th grade students from Boyne, Maya and Ava, who would like to present the question.
Hi, educators. I'm Ava, and I'm Maya, and we're at Fort Michigan. What are the obstacles to getting great stories of learning out beyond the walls of our classroom?
Well, with the people you were talking with, let's go ahead and let's brainstorm that. Thanks to Maya and Ava. Go ahead.